In this video, we are basically going to be looking at the process or the procedure of acquisition of a certificate of customary ownership. Of course, I'll also proceed to discuss for you the constitutional framework within which this certificate of customary ownership is provided. Hello there, my name is Mutiaba Conrad. I'm a lawyer and a private law tutor. And before we start on our class, I encourage you to ensure that you subscribe to my channel. Also turn on the notification so that every time videos are released, this is brought to your attention. It's also really very important to know that if you have a mobile phone, just put it in landscape mode. Then there is a red button that will come at the bottom of your screen. Just click on it and ensure that you're subscribed to my channel. Also, students interested in private law tutorial sessions, please feel free to reach out to the experts. We'll be able to mentor you, to guide you. If you're having challenges in law school, at the bar, or anywhere, the experts will be able to reach out to you. Please contact us. Our numbers are down in the description box. Call us and we can make really a private appointment with you. So let's jump right into it. In this video, as I said earlier, we're going to be looking at the process or the procedure of acquisition of a certificate of customary ownership. But before we jump into the process or the procedure, it's very, very important to always lay down the legal framework within which this certificate of customary ownership is provided for under the Constitution. I invite you to look at Article 237, Clause 4A of the 1995 Constitution of the Republic of Uganda. It basically provides or allows Ugandans to apply and acquire certificates of customary ownership. Now, before we jump into the process or procedure, it's really very important to give our discussion a little bit of context. And it's important to know that before the coming into force of the current Constitution of the Republic of Uganda, basically this customary land was not really documented, and the Constitution was an attempt under Article 237 Clause 4A to try and give some sort of legal document to the persons who actually own this customary land. And this legal document is what we call a certificate of customary ownership. It's basically a document that shows that you are the legal or legitimate owner of a certain piece of land which is owned under the customary tenure. So with that background, let's now quickly jump into the process or procedure of acquisition of a certificate of customary ownership. So the first step is that you make an application. Of course, the application is under Form 1 of the first schedule to the Land Regulations of 2004. So you make that application in that form and you make it to the Area Land Committee of the locality of the land in which the land that you desire to get a certificate is located. Now, after making that application, authority for that position is under Section 4, subsection 3 of the Land Act as amended 2004. The second step after that is that a notice in the prescribed form shall then be published and posted in a prominent place in the area and on the land on which is the subject of the application. So the moment you make that application, a notice will be published to inform the community, to inform the neighbors that there is someone who is trying to apply for a certificate of customary ownership on this land. Now, that application must show the area and the size of the land and calling upon persons with an interest in the land to attend a meeting of the committee at a specified time, which of course shall not be less than 2 weeks from the time of publication of the notice. So meaning that the notice has to be published at least 2 weeks, okay, earlier. This is really, really very important so that the community is informed that there's someone who is trying to get a certificate of customary ownership so that they can come and be part for purposes of justice being served. Authority for that position, I encourage you to look at Section 6, subsection 2 of the Land Act, Cap 227. It is authoritative on that. We will then proceed to the third step, which is at the Area Land Committee, because remember now the application has been made to the Area Land Committee. So that same Area Land Committee shall then, among others, verify and mark boundaries. So it has the duty to go on and verify and also mark boundaries, and then also demarcate rights of way and easements, and also adjudicate questions attaching to the land, and among others, it will also do other roles. And also the committee must comply to the rules of natural justice. So this committee has to ensure that the rules of natural justice are complied with. And of course, you know the rules of natural justice, of course, a right to a fair hearing, and also not to be a judge in your own cause. So these rules of natural justice have to be complied with during this whole procedure. And this is really very important. Authority for that position, I encourage you to look at section 5, subsection 1 and subsection 2 of the Land Act Cap 227. The fourth step in this procedural process of acquisition of a certificate of customary ownership is that the area land committee is then required to prepare a detailed report on the application, of course, showing the claims and whether they were approved or proved to exist. Also important to note is that its findings and recommendations also have to be put in that report, of course, with reasons, and they should show whether the application as put in by the applicant should be approved or refused. It should also give a copy of the report to the applicant and then also to the district land board and also the area where the land is situated. So in this third step, please, I encourage you to look at section 6. Subsection 6 of the Land Act Cap 227 provides for that step. So it's important to note that now at this stage, the Area Land Committee has to proceed and prepare a detailed report, because remember, under the third step, the area committee verified, it marked boundaries, it went on to demarcate, to show where the easements are, you know, where the roads, where the sources of water, and so on and so forth. And then it has gone on to make adjudications. And remember also, it's under the third step that it then goes on to hear any issues pertaining to that land, any interests or anything of the sort. So after that third step, the fourth step here is that now the Area Land Committee has to proceed to make a report from its findings after those investigations. And of course, as we have seen under section 6, subsection 6 of the Land Act, this Area Land Committee has to proceed, okay, make a report, and also it has to ensure that a copy is given to both the applicant, that is the party who applied for a certificate of customary ownership. But as if that is not enough, it also has to share a copy with the district land board, and also the area where the land is situated. A copy must also be left there. So basically that's the fourth step. Let's now proceed to the fifth step, and that basically is that the district board shall, on receipt of the area committee report, now consider, because you see under this fourth step, okay, the district board, the moment the area land committee finishes to make its report, it has to forward a copy to the district board, which on receipt of that copy by the district board, the area land committee shall consider, okay, the application in light of the recommendations, and can either confirm or reject those recommendations, or even vary the conditions of the report, giving reasons. So on receipt, this board, okay, has powers, among others, to either confirm or reject those recommendations or vary the conditions. Authority for that position, I encourage you to proceed and look at section 7, subsection 1 and 2 of the Land Act Cap 227. It is very authoritative on the same. Then the sixth step is that the district board shall then communicate its decision in writing to the recorder. So depending on what its decision is, from the report as received by the Area Land Committee, after an evaluation and an assessment, then the district board shall communicate its decision in writing to the recorder. Authority for that position, please look at section 7, subsection 4 of the Land Act, Cap 227. It is authoritative. Then the seventh step is that the recorder then issues the applicant with a certificate in the terms of the decision of the board. So it is the duty of the recorder, on instructions from the district board, to go on and issue a certificate which the applicant had applied for. Of course, this certificate is issued within the terms of the decision of the board. So the board can choose to put terms or not to put any terms as to the award of that certificate. Authority for that position, please look at Section 7, subsection 5 of the Land Act of 2004. It's also important to note, ladies and gentlemen, that the recorder is basically responsible for keeping records of certificates of ownership and certificates of occupancy, among others. Please look at Section 68, subsection 2 of the Land Act. It is authoritative on that. Then also, in rural areas, the sub-county chief is actually the recorder. And then in gazetted urban areas, the town clerk is the recorder. And then in the divisions of a city, the assistant town clerk is in charge of the division. So please look at Section 68, subsection 3 of the Land Act. It is authoritative on that. Then also very important to note, as you conclude, is that a copy of each certificate of customary ownership must always be deposited with the district land board. This is very important, and this is the position and the requirement of the law under Section 68, subsection 4 of the Land Act. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is the process or procedure of acquisition of this certificate. So once again, in case you have not subscribed to my channel, ensure that you subscribe, and this is really very important to you, because every time we release videos, this will always be brought to your attention, and it's important so that you don't miss out any videos whenever we release them on this channel. Also, again, students interested in private law tutorial sessions, if you're struggling, if you need some help from the expert, please contact us. Our numbers are down in the description box. We will really be able to help you. So thank you very much. We meet in another class. Bye-bye.